Hi students. So we are learning paper number first, lesson number third, and the name of the topic is there chemical reactions and equations. So before this, some points we have studied. Very first we have studied chemical reaction, physical change, chemical change. What is mean by chemical reaction? These points we have studied. And after this, we have studied what do you mean by chemical equation. Word equation is there, again a chemical equation, then sign conventions to write the chemical equation, how to write the chemical equation. After this, next point we have studied in case of the balancing the chemical reactions, how to balance the chemical equation, steps to balance the chemical reaction. These points we have studied. So after this we are going to learn about next point, and the next point is there exothermic and endothermic reactions and processes. So what are the exothermic processes, what are the endothermic processes, what is meant by exothermic reaction, what is meant by endothermic reaction? These points we have to discuss, we are going to learn in this video. So first thing, which points we are going to learn, and these are exothermic and endothermic processes and reactions. So first thing, it should be clear that what is meant by process and what is meant by reaction. So further that one we are going to discuss in the use of brain power. But process and reaction, these are little bit different. In the chemical reaction, new substance is formed, but in the chemical process or in the process, new substance will not be formed all the time. So sometimes if you dissolve sugar into water, no new substance is formed, only solution is formed. So dissolution is a process. In this, no new substance is formed. So in a detail we are going to learn this one afterwards. So first thing we are going to learn what about exothermic and endothermic processes. First thing we are going to learn about processes only, reactions we'll study later on. So endothermic process we will study first, or exothermic. First one we will study endothermic process. So endothermic process we are going to learn. So in that endothermic process, definition will take first and then examples. So process in which, what is the definition? Process in which heat is absorbed from outside. The process in which heat is absorbed from the outside or absorbed from the surrounding, that particular process is called as an endothermic process. Endo means in, heat is absorbed inside from the surrounding, so it is called as a endothermic process. So in case of the endothermic process, the process in which heat is absorbed from the surrounding, it is absorbed from the surrounding is called endothermic process. So example will take, with the help of example it is easy to understand. So first thing is the endothermic process, in that melting of ice. First example is there, example number one first is there, melting of ice. When ice will melt, when it will absorb the heat, already its temperature is low. When it will absorb the heat, then melting process will take place. Next thing is the dissolution of KNO3. Next thing is the dissolution of KNO3. KNO3, potassium nitrate. So in case of the dissolution of the potassium nitrate KNO3, when you will dissolve potassium nitrate, then it will absorb heat from the surrounding, and because of that temperature goes on decreasing. It will absorb heat from the surrounding, so surrounding temperature will decrease. So next thing we are going to learn exothermic process. First one endothermic process we have studied. Second one is the exothermic process. Now thermic word is there. So thermic means related to the heat. Endo means in, exo means out, and heat means, thermic means heat. So in case of the exothermic process, so definition we are going to learn. It is a physical change or a physical process in which heat is given out to the surrounding during when reactants are converted into, or sorry, when you are saying when during the chemical process or during the process heat is given out. If heat is given out, then you are saying it is exothermic process. When heat is given out, then you are saying exothermic process. Okay, so definition will write: the process in which heat is given out. It is given out to the surrounding. The process in which heat is given out is called exothermic process. It is called as exothermic process. Exothermic process. So it is a process in which heat is given out. During this process heat is given out. That process is called as exothermic process. After these examples we are going to take in case of the exothermic process. First example is the formation of ice from water. Formation of ice from water. When you are keeping water into the refrigerator, then heat is removed out, heat is given out, then water will get converted into ice. Then next one is the dissolution of NaOH. Dissolution of NaOH. NaOH, sodium hydroxide. NaOH is sodium hydroxide. When you are dissolving sodium hydroxide in water, then heat is given out, heat is liberated. Then this is called as a exothermic process. So two things, these are clear. First thing is there endothermic process, and second one is there exothermic process. In the endothermic process, two examples we have given: melting of ice, and second one is the dissolution of KNO3. Next thing is the exothermic process. Definition we have studied: the process or physical change in which heat is given out or heat is liberated. It is called as exothermic process. And in that first one example is the formation of ice from the water, and second example is the dissolution of NaOH. And one more thing we are going to learn. Third example is there dilution of sulfuric acid. Dilution of the concentrated sulfuric acid. Third example of exothermic process is there. So that example we are going to discuss, because on that example question or that a give reason question will be asked. So process is there. Which process is there? Exothermic process, and in that example number 3 is there, and that one is the dilution of concentrated H2SO4. When you are going to dilute means its concentration you have to decrease. That means you have to increase the solvent. You have to increase the solvent. 2-3 things you are knowing: solute, solvent, and solution. Solute, substance which dissolves; solvent, in which it dissolves; and solution, mixture of solute and solvent. So dilution of the concentrated H2SO4, in that explanation we will study. So when you are going to dilute the concentrated sulfuric acid, at that time you should not add water into acid. You should not add water into acid. Suppose you are taking one beaker, and in that beaker you will take H2O. And second beaker is there, and in that you are taking H2SO4. So dilution means in this you are going to add another substance. So here when you want to dilute that particular concentrated sulfuric acid, at that time first you have to take water. Required amount of water you have to take, and plus you have to add slowly H2SO4. You have to add slowly sulfuric acid, and each time you have to stir it. Each time. So less amount of heat will be produced, and dissolution process will take place easily, dilution process will take place easily, and each time less amount of heat will be produced. When you are adding concentrated sulfuric acid into water, this is a right process. Second thing is there: if you will take H2SO4, concentrated H2SO4 into the beaker, and you are adding water H2O, then here problem will arise. When you are adding water, at that time heat is produced. And if you are going to add water, and if you are adding more amount of water, more heat is produced, and there are chances of blastage, or the chances of the blasting this vessel. So due to the more heat, this vessel will blast, and there is a possibility of accident. So you should not use this process. You have to use this process. So when you want to dilute that particular concentrated sulfuric acid, at that time you have to take the required amount of water in here, in the beaker or in the vessel, required amount of water, and then slowly you have to add H2SO4, because this process is exothermic process, in which heat is produced, large amount of heat is produced. Okay, so 3 examples we have studied, and that 3 examples are there of exothermic process. So after this, 2 activities are given. After this, in the textbook, 2 activities are given, and these 2 activities are so activity also will take. Which activity is there? Activities. In that you have to take 2 bottles. Of equal measure. You have to take 2 bottles, and in these 2 bottles, suppose you take 100 ml H2O. Here also 100 ml H2O water you have to take. in both bottles you have to take equal amount of water. And after this, in this you have to add KNO3, and in this you have to add NaOH. So in the first, suppose this one is their bottle A and this one is bottle B. So firstly you are taking 100 ml of water in both bottles, 100 ml of water. After that equal amount of, suppose 5 gram KNO3 you take, and here also 5 gram NaOH you take, and equal amount of that substance you have to add into the bottles. When you will add this one, and with the help of a thermometer, you will take thermometer here, and here will be reading, and with the help of thermometer, if you will take the readings, so you will observe that in the first bottle this one will be cool, and in the second bottle if you will measure temperature with the help of a thermometer, then you will observe this one is hot, this bottle will be hot, this bottle will be cool. So from this it is clear, here also dissolution of KNO3 takes place in the water, here NaOH dissolves into the water, but in this heat is absorbed from the surrounding, so temperature of the surrounding, temperature of the water decreases. And here in NaOH, when NaOH is added, sodium hydroxide is added into the water, at that time heat is produced. So temperature of this bottle will be more and temperature of this bottle will be less. From this you can identify dissolution of KNO3 in water is a endothermic process, and a dissolution of NaOH into the water is exothermic process. So next thing we are going to learn, and that one is their endothermic and exothermic reactions. Which thing we are going to learn? Endothermic and exothermic reactions. Endothermic and exothermic reaction, that one we are going to learn. So instead of process, now we are going to learn reactions. Endothermic and exothermic reactions. So important thing is there, what is mean by reaction we are studying. So reaction is a chemical change and in which new substances are produced. In the chemical reaction, new substances are produced from the original substance. So endothermic and exothermic. So in the like that processes, heat is either absorbed or heat is either is evolved, absorbed or given out. So like that way in the chemical reactions also, in some chemical reaction heat is produced, in some chemical reactions heat is absorbed, or it is has to be supplied from outside to occur that chemical reaction. So first term we are going to learn, and that first term is their exothermic, or we'll take endothermic reaction. Endothermic reactions. So what is endothermic reaction? The chemical reaction in which heat is absorbed. Endo means in, thermic means heat. If the chemical reaction or chemical reaction in which heat is absorbed from the surrounding or has to be supplied from the surrounding to occur that chemical reaction, it is called as a endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction. So definition will write. What is the definition? So in case of the endothermic reaction, the chemical reaction in which heat is absorbed from the surrounding, or has to be supplied from outside, is called endothermic reaction. The chemical reaction in which heat is absorbed from the surrounding or has to be supplied from the outside is called as an endothermic reaction. So in case of the endothermic reaction, example we are going to learn. So example is there, we have learned this example before. This example is there, suppose you will take limestone, CaCO3 you will take, name is there limestone. So when you are heating this limestone, if you are supplying heat, you can write a plus heat also. If you are supplying heat, then it will get converted into calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. It will form CaO plus CO2. CO, calcium oxide, and this one is the carbon dioxide. So in this, heat is supplied from the outside, so it is called as a endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction, and you can write states. This one is solid, this one is solid, and this one is gaseous state. So this is the example of the endothermic reaction. So next term is there exothermic reaction. Definition is exactly opposite. The chemical reaction in which heat is liberated or heat is given out when reactants are converted into products. When reactants are converted into products, at that time heat is liberated or heat is given out. It is called as a exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction, and a definition will write. The chemical reaction in which heat is given out, or liberated when reactants are converted into products. When reactants are converted into products, at that time chemical reaction is taking place, but heat is given out or heat is liberated. It is called as a converted into products. It is called as exothermic reaction. It is called as exothermic reaction. Example we are going to learn. In case of the example, you can take one example. Already we have studied this reaction. That is, you will take CaO plus H2O, and in this calcium oxide plus water, and it will give calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice, plus heat is given out. And this reaction is exothermic reaction. It is exothermic reaction. This one is solid, this one is liquid, and this one is aqueous. So calcium oxide plus water, it gives calcium hydroxide, and heat is liberated. So this reaction is their exothermic reaction. So after this question is asked, use your brain power. In that use your brain power question is there. First question is there, what is the difference between process and process of dissolution and chemical reaction? So what is the difference between dissolution and chemical reaction? So in the next point is there, use your brain power. In that questions are there, that questions only will discuss. In that question is there, what is the difference between dissolution and chemical reaction? What is the difference between dissolution and chemical reaction? So difference between dissolution and chemical reaction. Dissolution, and here chemical reaction. This question is asked in use your brain power. So dissolution is a process. And chemical reaction, it is a reaction. And in case of the dissolution, with the example, if you take, suppose in the dissolution, if you will dissolve NaCl into water, if you will take example, if you are dissolving NaCl plus H2O, here what will be produced? Solution of NaCl. What will be produced? NaCl aqueous. That means solution will be produced, and here no new substance is formed. No new substance is formed. No new substance is formed. Only solution is formed. So dissolution is a process in which substance will get dissolved into the liquid, or a solute will get dissolved into solvent. And in the chemical reaction, suppose you will take last example, CaO plus H2O, and it will form CaOH twice. Solid is there, liquid is there, aqueous is there. Here this substance is another, this one is another, water is there, but new substance is formed, that one is another one only. So in the chemical reaction, new substance is formed. New substance is formed in the chemical reaction. Here this is chemical reaction, and this one is dissolution process. So dissolution process and chemical reaction, these are different. In the process of dissolution, new substance will not be formed all the time, and here new substance is formed in the chemical reaction. And the second question is that, does new substance forms when a solute dissolves into solvent? So when solute dissolves into the solvent, there is no need not, that means all the time that a new substance will not be formed. Here only example is there, all the times new substance will not form. Okay, but in the chemical reaction, new substance is formed. This is the difference. So after this, next point we are going to learn, and that next point is their rate of the chemical reaction. Next point is their rate of the chemical reaction. Next point, rate of chemical reaction. Rate of chemical reaction. And in that, what do you mean by rate? So rate of the chemical reaction or chemical reaction, in that rate means speed, and in this we are going to learn on which factors that speed of the chemical reaction depends. What are the factors? On that factors chemical reaction, that rate of the chemical reaction, speed of the chemical reaction depends. So rate means speed of the chemical reaction, and how it depends, on which factor it depends. So some processes are there, some reactions are there, and you have to decide whether it is fast or whether it is slow. So some changes are there. First one is there, burning of cooking gas. Burning of cooking gas. Second one is there, rusting of iron. Rusting of iron. Third one is there, another example is there, and that one is there, erosion of rocks. Erosion of rocks. Fourth one is there, formation of alcohol by fermentation. Then next one is there, fifth example is there, in that you can take ripening of fruits, or any other example you can take. But here, burning of cooking gas, this one is fast process. Rusting of iron, this one is slow process. Erosion of soil, erosion of rocks, it is also slow, and this one is fast process. So if you are observing another example, you can take a formation of curd from the milk. Formation of curd from the milk, that example also you can take. This is also slow process. So some reactions or some processes takes place fast, some takes place slow. And for the chemical reaction, for the chemical processes, some factors are necessary. So some reactions are fast, some are slow, and to increase the rate of that reaction, following or some factors we are going to learn, and that factors are there. 5 factors are there, and that factors we have to learn. First one is their nature of the reactant. Second one is their particle size of the reactant. Third one is their concentration of the reactant. Fourth one is their temperature of the reaction, and fifth one is their catalyst. So that particular points we are going to discuss. So I think I understood what you mean by rate of the chemical reaction. Rate of the chemical reaction means speed of the chemical reaction, and how that the chemical reaction occurs, slow or fast, and which factors are affecting on that particular chemical reaction. That one we have to learn. So next point is there factors affecting on the chemical reaction. Next point is there factors affecting on rate of the chemical reaction. Factors affecting on rate of chemical reaction. Rate of chemical reaction. So near about 5 factors are there, and that factors we are going to learn one by one. So first factor is their nature of the reactant. First factor is their nature of reactant. So in this 2 metals we are going to discuss, and that first metal is their aluminum, and second one is their zinc. So aluminum and zinc metal, these are reactant. So which reaction you have to carry out? So when you are carrying out the reaction of these metals with acid, dilute acid, suppose you will carry out the reaction aluminum plus HCl, dilute HCl, you will get AlCl3. Why AlCl3? Aluminum's valence is there 3 and chlorine's valence is there 1, and if you will do cross multiplication you will get AlCl3, and plus hydrogen gas is liberated. So to balance this chemical reaction you have to take 6 HCl. If you will take 6 HCl, here 3 Cl are there, so to make 6 Cl you have to multiply here by 2. 2 3s are 6 Cl. So again hydrogen are there 6, and here 2 are there, so 3 2s are 6, and here aluminum 2 happens, so twice Al. So in this hydrogen gas is liberated. Second reaction is there. If you will carry out zinc plus HCl, zinc plus HCl, dilute HCl, this one is there aluminum, this one is there zinc, and here is aluminum chloride, and this one is the hydrogen gas, and here it will form ZnCl2 plus H2 gas. Why ZnCl2? Zn's valence is there 2 and Cl's valence is there 1, and if you do the cross multiplication, so second reaction is there. In that zinc react with dilute hydrochloric acid and it gives zinc chloride, hence ZnCl2, and the hydrogen gas is liberated. So for hydrogen gas we are going to do upward arrow. For hydrogen gas we are going to do upward arrow. So in these two reactions, this reaction is a fast reaction, this reaction is a fast, and this reaction is the slow. So for that some reasons are there. So in case of the zinc and aluminum is more reactive metal. Aluminum is more reactive metal, and zinc is a less reactive metal, less reactive metal. So, and here reactivity is affecting on the rate of the chemical reaction. Rate of the chemical reaction is affected by reactivity of the reactant, and in that reactivity aluminum is more reactive, so this reaction occurs very fast, and zinc is less reactive, so this reaction occurs slow. And in both reaction, here it is not balanced. Cl are there too, and here one is there, so twice HCl, and here twice H2 is there. So Zn plus twice HCl, it will give ZnCl2 plus H2 gas. And here in both the chemical reaction, one thing, important thing you can tell, when metals react with dilute acids, they are giving out, they are liberating hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is liberated. So when metals react with the dilute acids, at that time hydrogen gas is evolved, hydrogen gas is liberated. So first factor you have understood, rate of that particular chemical reaction is affected, or it is influenced by more reactive metal. So next thing is there, second factor is there, and that second factor is the nature particle size of the reactant. Second factor is there, particle size of the reactant. Second factor is there, particle size of reactants. So in this also you can carry out one activity, and with the help of that activity we will understand. So one thing you have to do, suppose you will take one test tube. In another test tube also you are going to take, and in this test tube you are taking pieces of limestone, and here you are taking powder of limestone. Here you are taking pieces of limestone, and here you are taking powder of limestone, powder of limestone, and in that you have to add dilute HCl. Here also you have to add dilute HCl. You have to add dilute HCl. So when you are going to add dilute HCl, you will add dilute HCl in this, chemical reaction will take place. And in this, if you will study that chemical reaction, so CaCO3 plus HCl, dilute HCl is there, and it will give CaCl2. It will give CaCl2 plus CO2 plus H2. So when this reaction occurs, when this chemical reaction occurs, in that calcium carbonate reacts with hydrochloric acid, and it will produce calcium chloride plus CO2 plus H2. Calcium carbonate dilute hydrochloric acid, and here calcium chloride, carbon dioxide, and this one is the water molecule. So when calcium carbon reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid, it will give calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus H2O. So here you can do one thing, CO3 is there, you can divide it into CO2 plus O. So this CO2 you are going to write here, and here Cl2 is there. So to balance chemical reaction you have to write here 2 twice HCl. So 2 Cl will be there, and now this 2H and this O, it will form H2. It will form H2. So in this reaction, so in the first reaction, bubbles of CO2 bubbles will come out. In that which bubbles are coming? CO2. And in this also bubbles will come out, CO2 bubbles. But in the second, in this reaction is fast, and in this reaction is slow. Here effervescence or bubbles will come out fast in the powder, and here bubbles will come out slowly. So for that reason is there, and reason is the particle size of the reactant. So if the size of the particle of the reactant is smaller, then more particles are coming in contact with dilute acid, and that reaction will take place very fast. But here, in case of the pieces, only outer surface of that piece will come in contact with HCl. Inner surface, inner particles are not coming in contact with HCl. So this reaction is slow, and here powder form is there. That means many particles are coming in contact. So many particles of that particular reactant are coming in contact, and that's why that reaction takes place very fast. So how do I understand this? What is the reason? If particle size is there smaller, if powder form is there, reaction will be fast, and if pieces are there, reaction will be slow. So third factor is there, and third factor is there, concentration of reactants. So same reaction if you carry out in presence of dilute acid and in presence of concentrated acid. Suppose you take two test tubes and here you will take limestone CaCO3. You will take CaCO3, and here also you are taking another test tube, and in that you are taking pieces of CaCO3, and here also you are taking pieces of CaCO3, calcium carbonate. So in this you have to add, in first one you have to add dilute HCl, and in this you have to add concentrated HCl. When you are adding dilute HCl and when you are adding concentrated HCl, difference will be there, and when chemical reaction will occur, and same reaction will occur, and which reaction will be there? CaCO3 reacts with HCl, and it will produce CaCl2 plus CO2 plus H2O, and here twice. So calcium carbonate, hydrochloric acid, and calcium chloride plus CO2 plus H2O, and in this, in which test tube large amount or very fast effervescence or carbon dioxide will be produced, and in the second test tube, in this it will take place fast. CO2 bubbles are coming out very fast in upward direction. Why? Here concentrated is there, here dilute is there, so this reaction will be slow. So from this it is clear that if reactants are concentrated, reaction takes place fast, and if reactants are dilute, then reaction takes place slow. So up to here three factors we have studied, and that three factors are there: nature of the reactant, second one is there particle size of the reactant, and third one is there concentration of the reactant, and two factors are there. Next two factors, that one is there, first one is there, fourth factor after this, and that fourth factor is temperature of the reaction. Temperature of the reaction. Temperature of the reaction. Fourth factor is there, temperature of reaction. So if temperature of the reaction increases and temperature of that particular reactor increases, if you are supplying heat, then chemical reaction will take place fast. And for that example we have studied before this, that only example we are going to take. Another example is there, if you take formation of curd from the milk. During the winter season, formation of curd from the milk is slow process, but during the summer season, formation of curd from the milk is the fast process. So that example we take. Temperature of the reaction. We have studied one activity, and in that, suppose you will take one test tube. You are taking here rubber cork, here you are taking bent tube. You are going to take another test tube here, In another test tube you are taking solution lime water, you are taking lime water and lime water is a CaOH twice, and here you are taking pieces of calcium carbonate, you are taking limestone. Then, and if you are heating this one with the above burner, it will heat. Then which reaction takes place after heating? This one will be burner. After heating CaCO3, on heating it will get converted into CaO plus CO2, calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide, and here calcium carbonate. So when you are heating this one, in this CO2 gas is produced and this CO2 gas is passing through bent tube, and this will pass through that calcium hydroxide solution, and it will form. Here also reaction will take place. CaOH twice plus CO2, and it will form CaOH twice. It will react with CO2 and it will form CaCO3 plus H2, and this one will be white PPT, precipitate. Downward arrow we were showing. This one is there calcium hydroxide. This one is the carbon dioxide. This one is the calcium carbonate. And water molecule. So when you are heating the substance, then only chemical reaction takes place, and then only carbon dioxide gas is produced. So rate of the chemical reaction depends upon temperature. If you are heating, then only this solution will become milky, and this solution is becoming milky due to the formation of CaCO3, and this reaction will take place and solution will become milky. If you are not heating calcium carbonate, then solution will not become milky. For that you can say for this chemical reaction, rate of the chemical reaction, temperature is necessary. So next thing is there, next factor we are going to learn, and that next factor is there catalyst. That next factor number 5 is there catalyst. Factor number 5, factors affecting on rate of chemical reaction. Fifth factor is the catalyst. So what is meant by catalyst? It is a chemical substance which do not take part in the chemical reaction but increases the rate of chemical reaction. It will not take part in the chemical reaction but it will increase or it will influence the chemical reaction. So one example is there. Example in that decomposition of potassium chlorate. So potassium chlorate is there KClO3. So decomposition takes place normally at room temperature, slow rate, but if you are going to use catalyst, reaction takes place very fast. So decomposition of this particular KClO3 in presence of MnO2. Suppose you will take KClO3, and which catalyst you are to use? Suppose you are going to normal temperature at normal rate. Suppose twice KClO3, then it will form KCl plus thrice O2. KCl plus thrice O2. So 2 3s are 6, oxygen 2 3s are 6. Twice KCl, twice KCl. So this reaction is slow. And if you are going to use manganese dioxide, this catalyst, if you are using manganese dioxide catalyst, then this reaction will become fast. So you will take KClO3 in presence of MnO2 and it will give twice KCl plus thrice O2 twice KClO3 and this reaction will be fast. But why this reaction is fast? This MnO2 is a catalyst. MnO2 is a catalyst, and due to the presence of that MnO2, rate of chemical reaction increases. Suppose you will heat this, if you will give heat, rate will not increase. Suppose if you will make particle size smaller, again rate of chemical reaction will not increase. But if you are using catalyst, rate of the chemical reaction increases. So catalyst definition we can take. Definition of catalyst. Catalyst is a chemical substance in whose presence rate of the chemical reaction increases and which does not take part in the without taking part in the chemical reaction. You can write definition. The chemical substance whose presence increases rate of reaction without causing any change into it. Chemical substance whose presence increases the rate of reaction, increases the rate of reaction without causing any change into it. That means, in another word, you can tell the chemical substance which do not take part in the chemical reaction but increases the rate of reaction. It will not take part in the chemical reaction, but it will increase the rate of the chemical reaction. So this is definition. Another example, this one is the example number first. Second example of that particular catalyst is there. Decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. Decomposition of hydrogen peroxide at normal temperature, at room temperature, hydrogen peroxide will decompose slowly. But if you are using MnO2 catalyst, then hydrogen peroxide will get converted to H2 and O2 very fast. So in that H2O2 hydrogen peroxide, if you are using MnO2 catalyst, manganese dioxide, MnO2 means manganese dioxide, and it will form H2O plus O2. Now here how many oxygen are there? 3 are there. Here 2 are there. So one thing you can do, twice H2O2 and here twice H2O. So hydrogen 2 2s are 4. Hydrogen 2 2s are 4. LHS RHS equal. Oxygen 2 2s are 4. 2 plus 2 4. So this one is decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. This one is also example of catalyst. If you are using MnO2 catalyst, then rate of reaction increases. So 5 things we have studied, 5 factors affect on the rate of the chemical reaction. The one more time, we'll keep quick revision. We'll take first one is their nature of the reactant. In that aluminum and zinc, we have studied their reaction with hydrochloric acid, and aluminum reacts fast because it is more reactive metal and the reaction is taking fast. Second one is their nature of the particle size of the reactant. In that we have seen, if you are taking pieces of the calcium carbonate and a powder of the calcium carbonate, in the powder chemical reaction takes place fast and pieces chemical reaction takes place slow. And the third thing we have studied, concentration of the reactant. If you are taking a dilute hydrochloric acid and concentrated hydrochloric acid, and you are carrying out the reaction with calcium carbonate, and when you are taking concentrated you will take concentrated hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, then reaction will take place fast, and if you are taking dilute, reaction will be slow. And third, next Fourth factor we have studied temperature. If you are increasing the temperature, if you are supplying the heat, chemical reaction will take place fast. In that we have studied. If you are taking CaCO3, you are heating, it will get converted to CaO plus CO2 gas will be given out. And second example we have studied, rate of the formation of the curd from the milk in the summer is more, and in the winter season it is a slow change. And if you are taking the catalyst is the substance which do not take part in the chemical reaction but increases the rate of the chemical reaction. And in that we have studied two example, decomposition of the potassium chlorate KClO3 at normal temperature, and particle size also will decrease, then again the rate of reaction will not increase, but you have to use MnO2 manganese dioxide catalyst, then chemical rate of the chemical reaction will increase. And second example we have studied decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, and if you will use manganese dioxide, then decomposition of hydrogen peroxide will take place into water and oxygen. So this one was study H2O2 will get converted to H2O plus O2. So next point we are going to study, and that one we will study in the next video, and that part is their oxidation and reduction reaction, and next one will be their redox reaction we are going to learn.